Hello, neighbor. This is Novels and Bits podcast, and I am your favorite host, Chizoba Katie. How has it been? Alright, I am so excited that this final episode of our story is coming out today. And like I teased you in the last episode, this final episode is long ago. I'm sure you've already seen, but it is so worth it. It's like we went through all those first 4 parts so that we can get to this extremely good part. Now, let us continue. Where we left off in the last episode, so Charlotte, she goes to bed. And she's crying because right now she's asked Sebastian to go away, and then she has rescinded, more or less like she has said she's no longer doing this life anymore. Now she goes to bed clutching the diamonds that the Earl of Rockhurst gave her. The diamonds that caused all the wahala, or rather exacerbated, like made all the wahala between her and Sebastian was. Like the other man that's supposed to be her protector based on he has money, Sebastian doesn't. That man sent her diamonds that Sebastian saw and then let him say wear it so that I will remember who the kind of woman you are. And it was a whole drama. So if you want to catch up on it, you can listen to the previous episode. Now, after that happened, she now says she's no longer doing this wish anymore. She now falls asleep. And then we now wake up to the dawn of this new morning. Now, please start noticing every small detail about this part of the story I'm going to talk about. This is May 10, 1810. Okay? This is back to ordinary times. Now, it starts with Sebastian waking up in the morning. And he's feeling like something is not quite right. As if he was out all night. And that's not like him. And he's even feeling like, did I gamble away my family's fortune? Remember, that's what he did in the other lifeline as the rogue in love with Mrs. Lottie Townsend. But sensible Sebastian in our back to normal timeline cannot do that kind of thing. Do you understand? But he's just somehow still feeling like his world has shifted on its axis. The time is even 2 p.m. He has missed the Venetian breakfast with the box, this thing that is supposed to have been his engagement breakfast, sort of. Now he comes down to breakfast. His family is odd, as they normally are. I mean, that's this timeline. At breakfast, his mother, Lady Walbrook, she's even hounding him. She's telling him, that Lavinia girl, she's not too dull for you. His sisters are agreeing with the mother. And secretly, he's also agreeing to that Lavinia is dull for him. And he's even shocked that he's agreeing with them secretly. So it just makes him get up from the dining table because before his family will infect him, that's how it's before they will infect him with their own sensibility. Non-sensibility. So he starts leaving. And as he's leaving to go and apologize to Miss Buck or whatever for missing the Venetian breakfast, his siblings Viola, Hermione and Griffin, they're heading for the park. Charlotte, on her own part, she wakes up and she's feeling hopeless now that she has returned back to the dull life where she's not the most wanted courtesan in London, where she cannot attract a man's attention, where she's a wallflower. And Quince, the person that granted her wish in the first place, is supernatural being that has the physical appearance of an old woman with vibrant blue eyes. She is there in the room when Charlotte wakes up. And she comforts Charlotte. She's telling her that all is not lost. And Charlotte is going, but I'm no longer Lottie. What can I do? Quince is now telling her, you have all the same curves, the same grace that made Mrs. Townsend the talk of London. Charlotte snorts and normal Charlotte Wilmot does not snort, okay? That's the trait she picked up from being Lottie. Now, Quince informs Charlotte that, hey, it's only been a day that's passed in this lifeline, although you lived over 2 weeks as Lottie Townsend in the other lifeline. Do you understand? Like in this timeline, in this lifeline, it's only been a day. Like it was literally yesterday that you made the wish and today you are back to your normal life. But in actual reality of things, how time worked for Charlotte, she made a wish. She lived almost 3 weeks as Mrs. Lottie Townsend. And she refused to live that wish anymore. And she's back to being Lottie. Do you get that kind of timeline? So yesterday was May 9 to the rest of the world. But for Lottie, yesterday was probably like May 31. Do you get? So it's as though the time has just returned back. All she has right now with her is the experience she got from living the 2 weeks as Lottie. But everything else looks like it never changed one bit. in this timeline, Sebastian has not yet gotten to that point where he is marrying Miss Buck. There is still time for Charlotte to stop him. But Charlotte is like everything in this timeline is the same except me. You know, when she initially was swapped to the other lifeline, where she was Mrs. Lottie Townsend, the courtesan, it was as if everything about her life changed except her. But now it's the vice versa. Everything in her life is the same except her. Which kind of situation would you prefer? The first or the second one? Please let me know in the comments, and every other way you can let me know. So Quince is still talking to Charlotte. They're still talking, and Quince is now telling her, you haven't much time. After a fortnight, all of this, your memories, his feelings, all of it will be gone. You must hurry if you are to recapture his heart. And Charlotte doesn't see how she can make it work. Yes, it's true. There'll still be lingering memories of her time as Mrs. Lottie Townsend in all the people's minds, the Rockhurst, Sebastian, all the people that, were in that region around there. There'll still be lingering memories that they will not understand why it's there. With that memories, there's also lingering feelings that Lottie can use, Charlotte, she can use to make an in-way into their lives and achieve something. But she still does not see how she can make it happen. Charlotte is crying and saying that, I don't have the money and social connections that Lottie has. But Quince tells her, you have Lottie's wiles. And you also have something that Miss Buck doesn't. You know how to make love to Sebastian. And when I say make love, it's not literal making love. It's in the stolen glances across the opera house. It's with a brush of your hand over the top of his sleeve while riding in the park. It's with one single stolen kiss. Those are the making love ways. You know how to capture his attention, his interest, own his life. Even with all of these things that Quince is saying, Charlotte will still remember another thing that will make all of these things impossible. But Sebastian is sensible in this timeline. He's not like devil may care attitude person that he is in the other life. Quince is tired of this girl. She is patient with her. She now still tells Lottie, that is Charlotte, have you not learned anything? He is no more different than you are. You must help him discover the rakish side he's been hiding all these years. You know now, Quince told Charlotte when she initially went to that other timeline, and Charlotte was complaining, I cannot be Mrs. Lottie Townsend. I cannot be Mrs. Lottie Townsend. Quince had to tell her, see, Mrs. Lottie Townsend is another part of you that you just never had room to explore. Just like Charlotte is another part of you. So the same way, Sebastian has a part of him that is rakish. The same way he has a side of him that is sensible. He also had the side of him that can engage in all manner of vices and live carefree. That Sebastian is waiting for you to discover him. Do you understand? So go and call him out. Okay. Charlotte is agreeing with Quince, but there is still another problem. The Marlowes still don't have money. Hence, that's why Sebastian still needs to marry Miss Buck one way or the other to get money for his family. Well, Charlotte, you too, you have to fix that as well. She's still wondering, how do I do it? I don't even have a dime. Well, Quince has one final trick up her sleeve. You know those Rockhurst diamonds that Charlotte was clutching when she went to bed? Lottie was clutching when she went to bed. It followed her to cross over into her time back as Charlotte is on the bed. So that's something she can start with. Now, Sebastian, on his way out of the house to go meet up with Miss Buck, he bumps into Charlotte. And by accident, he feels her curves. You know, now she's back to wearing her drape gown, bonnet that is ugly. But regardless, when she looks up at him, her blue eyes and the tendril of her brown hair just takes his breath away. And it just makes him start imagining bad things. Then she now asks him, are you well? And the way she asks it with a knowing glance, like she's flirting with him, he now lets her go. And he's now struggling to remember her name so that he can apologize for the way he bumped into her. But then the thing that comes out of his mouth is, Lottie, I didn't see you there. And he's like, wait, when did I start calling her Lottie? He also notices that he's holding her arm in sight of everyone. Like, he did not even know when he reached out his hand again to just be in contact with her flesh. And he just reluctantly lets her hand go. As he lets her go, he continues on his way. Okay, now Charlotte by herself, she walks up to Marlowe house, and the butler, unlike the other time, like when he rebuffed her, let her in here. Miss Charlotte, your friend Hermione is at the park. Go meet up with her there. She directed to meet her there. So now Sebastian is in that same park. That's where he now meets up with Miss Buck and Miss Buck's friends. That's two twin sisters like that are walking behind Sebastian and Miss Buck. Now they come walking towards Charlotte, where Charlotte is with Hermione and Violet. At the same time, Rockhurst, remember Rockhurst and his aunt, Lady Rutledge. Lady Rutledge is the person who declares originals of the season, that declared Miss Buck as original. Now, Rockhurst and his aunt, Lady Rutledge, they also come along. So this is like an intersection of many people at once. Now, once Rockhurst notices Charlotte, he's in a carriage that normally he would drive past. He brings his carriage to a halt. Hermione, who has a crush on Rockhurst for a very long time, she's had a crush on him. She is shocked. Now, Charlotte ignores Rock herself. The person she faces is Sebastian. She now addresses him. Lord Trent, we're running to each other again. So by saying again, she now puts Sebastian in that position where he's now having to explain to Miss Buck that, oh, no. See, the thing is, I ran into her in front of the house. Now, Charlotte now said, yes, and I have the bruises to prove it. She's teasing him. Miss Buck looks Charlotte up and down in her draped gown, her ugly bonnet, and this one is even past 20 years old and she's not married. I cannot consider hatred. That's what Miss Buck looks at Charlotte and thinks. Now, with Lady Rutledge there, the conversation now segues into the talk of performances that people will perform at Lady Rutledge's upcoming soiree. Lady Walbrook is going to present a play there, or she's planning to. But then her plays, the drama plays she puts up, it has a history of going wrong. Her kids are even avoiding staring at the embarrassment of the play. Cordelia is away in Bath for romance studies to avoid it. Now, Rutledge and co, they are talking down on the Marlowes. And Sebastian is there, but he does not say anything to defend his family. Remember, his family is considered eccentric by the rest of London. But when Miss Buck now mentions that she's going to be doing a poem about men and marriage at the soiree, Charlotte now whips out Lottie's sharp tongue. Remember, it's Lottie that has a sharp tongue. Charlotte is more soft-spoken and everything. But Charlotte just whips out that part of her that is Lottie, uses the sharp tongue on Miss Buck. That sounds rather dull to me, if I do say so. I mean, truly, Miss Buck, what do you know of marriage, let alone men? Like, why are you doing a poem about men and marriage? What do you know? That's a very valid question to ask. Lavinia now starts countering that, well, I managed to engage Sebastian's interest. That's enough qualification. To prove her point, she winds her arm through Sebastian's own. And to Sebastian, it feels like a cage. It's Rockhurst that now speaks up and says that, well, Charlotte has engaged his interest. So Charlotte now blushes, and it's so pretty. And Sebastian finds himself jealous that Rockhurst is making Charlotte blush. And he's like, why am I even jealous about this exchange? Now, Lady Rutledge is now wondering what Charlotte is going to be performing. Then Charlotte says, oh, I can't perform there because I'm not invited. Lady Rutledge is like, oh, we're changing that to invited. I'll send you an invitation for the soiree. Charlotte now admits that, well, my talents are not in singing or pianoforte. Lady Rutledge now goes, impossible, all those matrons of the town that is always trying to prove that she has a hand in everything going right. She now starts, impossible, every true lady of the town possesses a talent. It is a mark of breeding, of education, why, of respectability. Charlotte now argues that talent is in being a good host and providing sound entertainment. Rockhurst now backs her up and says, I dare say that after all the screeching last year, would welcome a decent bit of music or oration. Like, people in the name of talent were spoiling his ears, but his eardrums with awful music. And he's really agreeing with Charlotte that, yes, if you know he cannot sing, at least get somebody who can. So Charlotte is now invited to prove her point at the soiree. Lady Rutledge now tells her, Miss Wilmot, prove your superiority over the rest of the ladies this season and provide a talent for the evening that surpasses anything seen before in our elevated circle. Is a challenge that Lady Rutledge is presenting to Charlotte. Now, Lady Rutledge lives with Lavinia and the twins. That's Lavinia, Buck's friends. As Lavinia is leaving, she gives Sebastian this annoyed look, like, why are you not following me? But Sebastian just ignores, allows them to go. And now Lavinia knows that Sebastian is only marrying her to settle his debts. her father, a baron, is going to have that over Sebastian the whole of his life. Lavinia has many suitors, though, but the reason they settled on Sebastian as the man she's going to marry is because, well, the Marlowes and the Burkes share adjoining lands, and her family is new money. Meanwhile, Sebastian is old money. So let us join that so that when Lavinia will have a son, Lavinia's son is going to inherit their shared land. Just family politics. That's what's happening here. Sebastian wants to leave the park with his sisters and Miss Wilmot, as he has taken to calling her, because he cannot be calling her Lottie. It's not appropriate. But Charlotte tells Sebastian that no, she's not leaving yet, that she has to take care of business. And when he now said, what kind of business? She now said, yeah, well, it involves diamonds that I got as an inheritance from my aunt. That's the lie she's going with to explain the diamonds. And the thing now makes Sebastian irrationally angry when he sees the diamonds. Remember, traces of memories from the other lifeline is remaining in them. Traces of memories and feelings. He did not like this diamonds in the other lifeline based off of it is Rockhurst that bought it for her. Even though he does not remember that it's Rockhurst that bought her those diamonds, he just feels annoyed when he sees them. Feels jealous about it. Now starts saying Miss Wilmot, and he says that he should not pawn away the jewelry that's given to you as inheritance. But within him, he does not still want her to wear it, but he doesn't want her to, sell it off for money. He wants her to involve her family solicitor. So to this, Charlotte rolls her eyes and asks him, Lord Trent, do you consult your mother on every one of your business transactions? He's now wondering where she pulled out that explosion from. Even his own sister stepped back just so they can watch this exchange very well. Rockhurst is also there. He's looking on Charlotte worshipfully, like, oh, this lady has backbone. She's pretty. I am fascinated with her. And it's utter madness for Sebastian to consult his mother. He tells her the same thing. Charlotte now says, my point, sir, is that I am 26 and know my mind on the subject. I think it is ridiculous that just because I am gently bred, I am not credited with having the capacity to manage my own affairs. Do you think me feeble-minded? Rockhurst now starts telling Trent, just give up. You cannot argue with the lady. Let her do what she wants. So Sebastian is Trent, remember. He is still not ready to give up this argument that Charlotte should not sell her jewelry, her diamonds. And then he now asks her, do you even know the value of those diamonds? She just tells him without blinking, £1,500. He gasped. That's the queen's ransom. She now starts asking her, okay, if you sell it, what are you going to do with the money? She's like, get a dress. And I think she's gone mad. What are you doing with dress? Rockhurst has to intervene and said, okay, don't worry, I'll buy off the jewelry from your hand so that we don't involve more people. Sebastian is disgusted and in disbelief that Rockhurst is encouraging her by buying the jewelry. Rockhurst even takes things further and says, well, to celebrate you getting a new dress, that why don't you and Hermione come to the opera with me? Hermione accepts before Sebastian can cut off the request. And Sebastian is thinking, well, I know that no matron in her right mind is going to allow her daughter to go out with Rockhurst, that he's a known rake. Like he's a known womanizer, known to sleep around. Except, Sebastian, remember, there's a big problem. Our mother is not your typical matron. She's not in her right mind. She's going to accept that Hermione and Charlotte should go out to this opera house with Rockhurst. She's going to accept. Hey, no hope there. So, do you see how very funny these things are just happening? Sensible Sebastian here, he's being fought on every corner by all the insensible people around him. So his rakish side has to wake up one way or the other. Now, Charlotte ends up purchasing this blue velvet gown that Lottie wore in the other lifeline. The seamstress here made it and did not even know why she made it, which is that lingering feelings thing again. So Charlotte now wears the dress to the opera and it suits her perfectly because it was made for her. But even though the seamstress does not know, he just knows that that person was supposed to come and take this dress. I don't even know what happened to her again, Seth. You understand? So Charlotte bought the dress that is actually for her. The blue velvet gown, it has a low neckline and people are just staring. Now, Charlotte ends up sitting opposite Sebastian and the box, just like she did in the other lifeline at the opera. Now, it's obvious to Rockhurst, the game that Charlotte is playing with Sebastian. And he's not even offended that Charlotte is involving him somehow, involving Rockhurst in her game. He's just eager to support her because it's fun for him. I mean, he's a rake. He just knows he's fond of this Charlotte's girl that he's just meeting and he does not know why. Well, she's interesting. Let me just see where it goes. That's him right now. Now, Sebastian's eyes lock with Charlotte's and he devours her. And once again, the looks that both of them are trading in this lifeline where she is supposed to be the wallflower, he's supposed to be sensible. It's as though they are teleported back to the other lifeline where they were lover and mistress once again. Now, once the opera is done, Charlotte walks on the Earl's arm. The crowd just parts to allow them space to part. Now, Charlotte is projecting Lottie's confidence. And everybody is wondering, oh my God, who is that lady? We've not seen her before. Ladies, matrons, courtesans, debutants, Greeks, lords. Everybody is staring at Charlotte. And Hermione is just loving the attention. Remember, she's part of the people, who came to this opera. Now, they come face to face with the box. That is Hermione, Charlotte, and the Earl Rockhurst. And the box and Sebastian, like Lavinia and Sebastian, with Lavinia's parents behind Lavinia and Sebastian. And it's as though it's a war front. Lavinia is now whispering to Sebastian that spinsters who try to her like Charlotte, they're vulgar, depressing creatures. Lavinia greets Charlotte too, only just because Charlotte is with Hermione. That's Sebastian's sister, and she cannot ignore Hermione. Now people are rushing to their boxes soon enough to avoid Battersby, but not Charlotte. Remember, Battersby is that guy from the other lifeline that was trying to sell his shares. He bought shares of a ship, and the ship has been at the waters longer than usual. It's meant to have docked on English soil since. So the general news going around is that the ship has sunk. And if the ship has sunk, that means Battersby has lost a lot of money. So him now trying to salvage himself, he's trying to sell the shares to that ship for a lower amount to anybody willing to buy it. But nobody is going to buy it now, because why would you want to buy something that is already a failure? You understand? But Charlotte knows better, because she's coming from the other lifeline where she has the upper information that this ship is going to dock and is going to make Battersby very rich. So she wants to go and partake of that wealth. So instead of her running away from other people are running away from Battersby, so that he's not going to bend their arm to buy the stocks, Charlotte starts running towards him, not away from him. And she's now urging him to sell the shares of his ship to her. And he's not looking at her like, is she crazy? He thinks it's a joke, that is Rockhurst that is putting her up to it so that Rockhurst can make a mockery of him. That's what Battersby is thinking. But she's like, no. Unfortunately, the money that Charlotte has on her can only buy 1/3 of the shares. You get? So Sebastian now says, okay, I'm going to purchase the second part. And Lavinia is like, why would you do that? That you're sensible. Why would you want to buy? Because she's the person who's supposed to marry him now. And her family is going to be controlling Sebastian based off of, you're marrying her daughter for money. You only have name. It's us that have the money. So she's angry, but Sebastian still goes ahead. He doesn't even know what possesses him. It's just like, okay, I want to support Charlotte. If she thinks this ship has something on it, sure, let me buy the shares. He purchases the second part of it, and Rockhurst purchases the third part of it, because Battersby is insisting that he cannot sell only 1/3, that he wants to sell all 3 parts at once. So that's how they end up buying the entire thing from Battersby. And they do this to assist Charlotte, both Sebastian and Rockhurst, because they don't get why she's bent on the shares for some reason, but shall let them indulge her. Now, Rockhurst's lawyer is going to be the one to take care of the acquisition. The acquisition could have cost him a lot of money, but with Rockhurst getting involved, that's just smooth sailing. Trent is just wondering that I quite possibly got myself in business with a headstrong and most likely mad spinster, and then the worst gambler and rake in London, aka Charlotte and Rockhurst. How did me, Sebastian, Lord Trent, get involved with all of these people? And this is not the worst of it, people. It gets more interesting. Now, because of the length of this episode, I'm going to stop here, but the 2 parts are released today. So just click on the next one and continue listening. Thank you so much.